Nice to see some familiar faces. Like old friends, yay. I'm going to warn you ahead of time. All of a sudden, I've had this like sneezing allergy fit. Oh, good. I'm glad it's not just me, Anne-Marie. Thank you. So if I suddenly disappear from the screen, it's because I'm sneezing nonstop again. And I try not to be too rude with the constant Kleenexes. So I do apologize. I don't know what it is. It was fine an hour ago, and it just hit. It looks like we've still got people joining in. So hopefully we can get everybody kind of going here. Let me make sure I turn on the recording. Okay. For those of you guys that are new, that haven't done a Zoom meeting before, there are some features that if you just kind of scroll along the bottom of the screen, you'll see the microphone on the far left-hand side. That is, if you're not talking, if you would mute your microphone, because otherwise we get really bad feedback and echo. Then if you're in, but we can't see you yet, the second one, is a camera, and it will say start video or stop video. So like I said, if I start sneezing, I'm going to stop the video. But that is there. Then moving on along, you'll see invite, which invite somebody if you want to. Participants, right now we've got 20. Share screen, which is for me. And then the message one is there on the next one where it says chat. If you click on that, you'll get a little screen on the far right-hand side that says Zoom group chat. And like Ilya's already posted something there. So if you don't want to talk, or if you just have a question or a comment, you can type it there. So I'm going to go ahead and type a message so everybody can see it. But that's a great way to, like I said, if you have questions or comments or whatever, just jump right in. Okay, so I'm seeing some of you still can't get your videos to show. It's either a webcam problem, or make sure that you turn your video on. And like I said, that's on the bottom of the screen. It's the second icon on the left. It should say start video. So try that. And if not, you may want to log out and get back in. Okay. All right, I'm seeing everybody. Ilya, did you get my last email today?
Yes, I did.
Okay, just checking. I think we finally got you straight.
Thank you so much.
Oh no, you're welcome. You're fine. I just wanted, like I said, I just wanted to make sure you got it.
Thank you.
Okay, so yeah, I still see a few people. Let me see if I can do anything on my end. No, all I can do. Hang on here. Let me look. Yeah, I can't. All I can do is change your microphone settings. I can't change your webcam settings. Okay. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to go ahead and get started. Tonight, we're going to try to do a couple things. First of all, welcome to EDL 707. But tonight, I want us to spend some time getting to know each other. You know, the good news is I know some of you have had classes together. I've been privileged enough to have some of you in my classes previously. But again, we're going to just take a few minutes to get to know each other. And then I know people always want to know, you know, what's the professor really like? What do they expect? Are they difficult? You know, all that kind of stuff. And then I'll tell you who I've had before, and you can talk to them offline, and they'll tell you the real truth. Give you hopefully some tips about succeeding in the class. And then we're going to start talking just a little bit about data modeling, which sounds like a very scary thing, but it's really pretty simple. So with that being said, we're going to start first with what I'm calling our roll call. What I want you to do is to introduce yourself, tell us where you're from, tell us what you do, and then tell us what you aspire to do in the future. So we have a mix of both Masters of Educational Leadership students as well as Educational Curriculum and Instruction students. And we may have an MBA or MHA student or a doctoral student in here as well. So kind of everybody's at a different point. But I'll start off. You guys know I am Tracy Johnson, your instructor. You know, I work currently at LSUS, or LSU in Shreveport, as the graduation coordinator and advisor. My roles have changed a little bit in the last couple months. We've got some programs that have just blown up huge, and so they've moved me to help with those bigger programs. So now I'm the coordinator and advisor for the Masters of Health Administration, the Masters of Public Health, and the Masters of Educational Leadership. I'm not working with the MEDCI program or the doctoral program anymore. I also provide support services for the Masters of Science and Counseling, as well as the school specialty, school psychologist program. So busy, 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 but I love it. And then I'm also an adjunct professor for LSUS. So, and in the future, what do I want to do? Some of you know I've retired from Texas Public Schools after 35 years of service. I'm hoping to get about 10 in Louisiana, and then once I retire, I think I'm just going to be done. So, here, 45 years is a long time to work. Okay, all right, who wants to go first? Introduce yourself and tell us about you. And I will call on you if I have to.
I'll go.
Okay, awesome.
Hi, my name is Mitty Adams. Currently, I work as a second grade ESL teacher in Jefferson Parish. I started in DISD actually coming through their AC program. And so my actual educational background is business. I have a degree in finance, and I got my MBA from LSUS in 2006.
Oh, wow.
So a different career path and everything. If I were to stay in Jefferson Parish, I would love, love, love to eventually take this degree and translate it to the ESL program, because they're in dire need of getting some real direction for that program down here.
Oh, that's awesome. What school did you teach at in Dallas?
I started at Conrad.
Oh, okay.
And then I got moved around my first year, part of riffing, and then I ended up going back to Conrad. So, and I did 2 years there, taught a year abroad, and then came down to New Orleans.
Oh, great. We're so glad to have you. Thank you. Hey, who's up next?
I can go.
Okay.
My name is Ty Melton. I've got a little cold, so my voice probably sounds raspy.
There's something going around, I'll tell you.
It is. It's a bad time of the year.
Rudolph from blowing my nose so much.
I feel your pain. My webcam's out, so nobody can see my face, but I'm from Winfield, Louisiana, and that's where I currently teach high school. I teach chemistry, physics, and physical science. And I have this class and my Ed 798, and I'll wrap that up. It's been a busy time over the last 2 years, but I'm looking forward to that. And my goal is to be an administrator, whether that be assistant principal, principal. We'll see how it all goes. I've got 23 years in, and I'll probably stay around forever, so I've got plenty of time.
Awesome. Well, welcome, Ty. We're glad to have you. Hope you feel better.
Thank you. You too.
Thanks. Okay, who's up next?
Hi, I'm Anne Marie Tossan. Sorry, my kids are taking a bath in the other room. They keep opening the door. I'm a kindergarten teacher in Lafayette Parish. I've been teaching for 15 years, and I'm about halfway through this program. I'll graduate in December, and it's going well. I'd like to be a principal one day.
Awesome. Yay, we've got people almost done. That's exciting. Okay, who else?
Hi, I'm Joseph Harrington. I'm in
Hey, Joseph.
Hey, long time no see.
Yeah, I know. It's been what, a whole month?
Month. And so, yeah, I as of December, I was halfway through this degree, and I should finish in July into summer AP1. And I'm currently an assistant principal at Pathways in Education, a public charter school in Shreveport. And I am going to enroll in the doctorate program after this. I have decided to stay in school mode for a few more years and go through that. And then I'm not sure really, it's kind of a dichotomy of directions to go in at that point. Do I want to like move into to higher ed, or do I want to like keep trying to move up in K-12 education? So I've got a few years to keep figuring that out.
Great. Just remember that doctoral cohort deadline's April 1st. Great. Thank you. Okay. Who's up next?
I'll go next.
Okay.
Okay. I'm Camille Miner. I live in Shreveport, Louisiana. I've been here since '01. I'm the product of a military family. My father was in the Marine Corps for 30 years.
Oh, wow.
My mom's family is from here, so that's what landed us here. I've been teaching this is my 10th year at Sunset Acres Elementary, same school, only one school I've taught at. It's a career change. I was in lab, working for LabCorp management, did my BA in business with a minor in healthcare administration, and then the teaching bug came. So I went and got my master's at Tech, and now I'm finishing up my third year in LSUS's doctoral program.
Oh,
So
awesome.
glad to be here.
Yes, we're glad to have you. We love it when people feel that passion and that calling for teaching. Thank you. Who else?
Hi, I'll go next. I'm Julie, and I live in Bossier City, and I'm a second grade teacher over here in Bossier Parish at Legacy. And I'm almost done with the program, so I'm super excited. And then hopefully I'll move up into administration, or I would love to actually work for LSUS someday.
Oh, okay. Awesome. Well, there's a bunch of us that are not that far away from leaving, so there's going to be a lot of openings.
That's exciting, but sad at the same time.
Yeah. In fact, I think they're about to post another coordinator position probably within the next 6 months. So
Keep my eyes open.
yeah, just keep watching the website. Okay, who's up next?
I'm Lucia Wood.
I'll go.
I'm a fourth grade teacher at Apollo in Bossier Parish, and I'm hoping to eventually get into curriculum, maybe vice principal later on. But right now with kids, teaching and then maybe curriculum. So
Awesome. Thanks, Anna. Good to see you again. Okay.
I'll go. I know you guys can't see me. I don't know if you can hear me because I'm new to this Zoom thing.
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right, cool. My name is Martha. I started teaching in 2001 actually, in Chicago on the South Side, and then I moved to New Orleans right before Katrina, like 2 months before. Excellent timing on my part. But I taught second grade for 11 years, and then I taught fourth grade ELA. And last year, I actually moved out of the classroom into the instructional specialist position at a new school. And that's what I'm doing now. So I'm getting my degree in curriculum and instruction. And hopefully, we are going to be opening up another school in the next couple years. So I'd like to move into more of a leadership position in that new school.
Awesome. Well, congratulations, and glad to know that you made it through Katrina okay.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you.
Okay. Who's up next? Okay, Elia. Keep going. Who's going? I'm sorry. I'm seeing a couple of people.
Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. I'm Allison Blanchard. I live in Ascension Parish down in South Louisiana, and I've been teaching for 17 years, fifth grade right now, fifth grade ELA. And I've started in the Masters for Curriculum and Instruction and Reading, and I'm hoping to gain a little more insight into how to help my students with, more specific strategies that will help them. I would love to become a reading specialist or an interventionist. Unfortunately, in our parish right now, there's not really positions for that. But hopefully, in the future, maybe we can begin to see more of those positions open, because we desperately need those positions. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm hoping budget at some point will get better for Louisiana, but we're struggling at the university level too, just with all the budget issues. But hopefully it'll improve. If not, let me know. I'll get you a job in Texas.
Oh, wonderful!
Struggle quite as much as we do. Okay, who's going next?
I'll go next.
Okay, go ahead.
My name is Noelle Graham. I live in Prairieville, Louisiana, and Allison Blanchard, who is just on, is one of our inclusion teachers, which is a fabulous one, so we may not let her go to Dallas. I graduated as a speech language pathologist and went back and received my
degree or add-on certification for mild moderate disabilities. So right now I serve as a special education lead teacher on campus. I have 8 teachers and 16 paraprofessionals that I oversee. And my goal is to become an account coordinator for the special education department.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you. Very important work. Thank you for what you're doing. Okay, who's up next?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, sorry.
Hey, Heather.
Hey, I have kids and dogs and craziness. My name is Heather Hickman. I teach first grade at Apollo. This is my 10th year teaching. And my plans right now are to graduate hopefully in June, end of June. And if that's not crazy enough, my husband has decided to go back and get his degree in criminal justice at the same time. So,
wow.
Yeah, so we're kind of crazy. But my passion is really in technology. I love building spreadsheets and data and color coding it and things like that. So my husband wants me to be the administrator, but my heart's set in technology, so we'll see.
You know, many school districts have people who they do all the data. I know in Dallas we had a huge group of people who did all of our data for us. So we love people that take care of all those spreadsheets and diagrams and all that stuff for us. So hopefully we can find you the right niche. Okay, who's up next? Okay, Elio, I think it's you.
Hi, my name is Elio Navarro. I'm originally from Mexico. I spent most of my adult life in San Diego, California. I was a behavior coach for like 7 years at one of the big districts there. Then I moved to Colorado. I live in Leadville, Colorado right now. I've been teaching Spanish at the local community college for the last 3 years. And for the last 3 years, I always was an assistant principal at the intermediate school. So I am glad I'm taking this course. And Tracy, thank you so much for taking care of business today.
That's what I'm here for. Hopefully you'll see your classes tomorrow, officially.
Yeah.
All right, who's up next?
I'm Stacy Robinson, and I'm another Bossier teacher. I teach at W.T. Lewis, first grade. I'm on sabbatical this year, but I've got 23 years of experience. I'm in the ed leadership. I hope to take this session and one more and then graduate in, I guess, May. And I hope to one day be, I don't really know what, hopefully a principal, but I'm kind of at the end of my career, so I'm just hoping to keep going and praying.
Glad to have you again, Stacy. Yeah, she's just right down the road from my house teaching and close to my neighborhood. Okay, who's up next?
I'll go.
Okay, hey Katrika, how are you?
Okay, how are you, Miss Tracy?
Good, other than my nose. Practically filled out my trash can here.
Hi, I'm Contrika Carcese. I'm from Marrero, Louisiana. I currently teach third grade at St. Joan of Arc Catholic School, and my plans for the future is to become a reading specialist. Like one of my classmates said before, it's a big concern with my kids because I have some kids who struggle with reading. So I want to find ways to help them out.
Yeah, awesome. We all know literacy is everything. If they can't read, they can't succeed in pretty much anything else. So my hats off to those of you that have that passion for reading. Definitely. If I had my way, we'd have a reading specialist in every single school. Okay, who's going to go next?
I can go. Can
Okay.
you hear me?
Yeah.
Hi there, I'm Patrick Norman. I'm in New Orleans, Louisiana. I plan to finish the program this coming May. I currently work for an education nonprofit handling data management and web management as well. yeah, I got into education, I guess, first through the military when I was in the Marines. I heard Camille talking about her father, Semper Fi. Doing training there, and then got out working in bioconservation and also outdoor education. Taught middle school science ed for 4 years and worked as a department chair. And for the future, I hope to kind of continue to transition into a educational media design role, which I had been doing previously at a museum in Hawaii. So I'm kind of like that creative outlet mixed with curriculum design. So that's kind of where I hope to end up.
Awesome. Very exciting. You've had a really colorful career. Love it. Okay, who's up next?
I'll go. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Hi.
Hi, my name is Crescenciano Hernandez. I am from Mexico as well. I'm so happy to see another Mexican here in the class. And I work in Bossier Parish, so I see a lot of teachers from Bossier Parish as well, so I'm so happy. I am currently teaching Spanish in middle schools, Houghton and Emerald Middle Schools.
Oh, okay.
This is my 3rd year here in Bossier. And, well, I just tried to profit the time and get another master's degree. I don't know what the future waits for me. So, well, hopefully this master could help me to go to another country or continue working here in the States. So very nice to meet you, everyone. And hola, paisano.
Good to see you. Thank you. Glad you're with us. Who else?
I can try. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Hey, George.
Okay. How are you?
Good. Good to see you again.
Good to see you and good to be in class. My name is George Wirtz. I live in Deming, New Mexico, which is off the I-10 corridor. I live right on I-10 and about a little bit west of El Paso. I am in my 23rd year of being a career tech teacher. I have taught woodshop and I've taught construction for the last 15 years. My goal and my hope is that I could end up in the as a director of the construction department and be a director over construction and maintenance and support services in our district.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I've been interning for the last year with the construction department, helping with the construction of 2 new schools in our districts.
That's great. Definitely a need. I know a lot of districts are growing and building new facilities or revamping and renovating old ones. So absolutely. Glad to have you again, George.
Thank you.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Claudia Milton.
Hey, Claudia.
Hey. Let's see. I'm from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I have been a school counselor for the last 5 years at a middle school in Central Community School District. That's right on the outskirts of East Baton Rouge Parish. And I'm not real sure when I'm going to graduate at this point, but eventually. So I'm glad to be here.
Sorry, it'll all happen in due time. Yeah, go ahead.
My name is Stacy. I'm here in Shreveport at a private school, Evangel Christian Academy.
Oh, nice.
I am been an English teacher for 20 years, but I've moved more into administration, doing teaching, coaching, and administrative stuff, and I hope to be a principal.
Great. Evangel's a good school.
Yes.
We're glad to have you, Stacy. Thank you. Okay, I think we've only got a couple we haven't heard from, maybe. And they may not be able to chime in, I'm not sure. Camille, I don't think we've heard from you or Jennifer. I know Kimberly's got some technical issues. Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and move on. If for some reason they can chime in at some other point, we will. But many of you have already had the Professional Learning Communities class with me, and so you know one of the things that is very important when you're working collaboratively is to establish norms. And while this class is not about professional learning communities, we are going to function very much in that way as a class. And so what I've done is I put together some norms and things that we're going to try to follow. So I'm just going to quickly go over these with you. You will be collaborating with your classmates as well as with me. I do have a group assignment And I get mixed feedback about group assignments. People either love them or they hate them. There doesn't seem to be anybody who's in the middle. So what I'm going to do this go around is for the group assignment, it's optional. You can either choose to participate and have 3 or 4 other people help you do the assignment, or you can do it individually. It's really going to be your choice. But I would encourage you to consider doing the group assignment, simply because it's a great way to get to know your fellow classmates and to have those thought partners. While many of us do well individually, whenever you have other people looking and collaborating and giving you ideas and sharing thoughts and all of those kind of things, we tend to produce better products. So, but I know the group assignment's a big deal to some people, and so I'm trying to accommodate both learning styles. I don't think we have to worry about this, but just a reminder, we do follow the LSUS Code of Conduct and Honor Code. But like I said, you're graduate students. I don't think we have to worry too much about that. Please be engaged in not only our class, but our forums, our Zoom meetings, and with the assignments. 7 weeks is a very short time to cover an intense amount of content. So, just kind of stay on top of it. If you get too far behind, it can become overwhelming. Also, the Zoom meetings are optional, but whatever we talk about in them, I do record the meetings. I post them for you on YouTube. If you happen to miss, it's not a big deal. I don't give a participation grade or anything like that. So if you miss, just watch that recording in YouTube, okay? Also, too, remember, I know that I looked at next week, and I've given you a ton of reading content. I think I may go back and edit some of that out. But whatever I post, I don't post just for fun. I post it because you're going to need it. So, take the time to read it and spend some time in the content. The only exception is I do put in those important documents and resource folders each week some additional articles. You're not responsible for those additional articles, but I do that so that you can start to build your own professional library. There's lots of information and stuff out there, and I try to kind of cull through it and give you the best, so that if you are sitting as that principal on down the road, or an assistant principal, or you're asked to lead a data meeting or whatever, you've got some tools that you can use with your fellow teachers. Okay? So any comments or questions, concerns, anything like that about the norms? And I know Thursday nights at 7:30 is probably not the best time, but within LSUS, because several of us do the Zoom meetings, we each have a night now that we have to use. It's not so much in this class, but in some of my other classes, I literally have people from around the world. I've got somebody in China and somebody in, Australia. So, I mean, there's just not a good time. But, if you can join us, I hope you will. Hope that you find these helpful. So, some of you've had me before, and if you want me to tell you who those are, then you can get the real scoop. But I know a lot of times when people have a professor or an instructor for the first time, they really want to kind of know what they're like. So I'm going to be very honest and transparent with you guys. I know it says in my email, it's Tracy Fraley Johnson. LSU can't seem to figure out that I have legally changed my name, and I have remarried. I worked really, really hard to get rid of that name, Fraley. So please call me Tracy Johnson. I won't get mad at you if you call me Tracy Fraley Johnson, but like I said, that's just an LSU issue. Nobody else in the world uses that anymore. I am a native Texan. I'm very proud of that. I moved to Louisiana in August of 2015. After retiring from Texas, and then just kind of fell into the job at LSUS, quite honestly. I did an internet search, and next thing I know, I'm getting an interview, and they offered me the job. I didn't think people actually got jobs from internet searches, because I didn't know a soul here. But moved here when I married my husband, Jay, and I've really, really loved being in Louisiana. It's certainly much less hectic and fast-paced than what I was used to in Dallas. If you've had me before too, you know that I am, I try not to be so difficult about it, but I do expect you to edit your papers before you turn them in, because I will mark you down for basic spelling and grammar and stuff like that. So if you don't use spell check or Grammarly or one of those, I would encourage you to get it. They're very helpful. This is graduate work, and I want to make sure that you are writing at the graduate level, especially for those of you that are planning to go on to the doctorate. We don't want those bad habits to carry over there. Also, too, as far as your reflection questions and stuff every week, you have two options. You can either do a title page, or if you don't want to do a title page, it's not a big deal to me, but please make sure you put your name on the assignment. Like I said, I'm a former English teacher, and sometimes I download everybody's papers and I sit at home and grade them on paper because it's just easier for me to do that. But I've had students who didn't give me their names, and so, you know, by the time I finish grading, I'm like, I have no idea who this paper belongs to. So just remember that basic thing. Also, too, you know, I have worked in the real world. I just haven't lived in the ivory tower that is college and university life all my life. Like I said, 35 years in an urban school district. So I do get it. You know, I want you to try to meet the deadlines, but if something comes up, guys, it's not the end of the world. Just communicate with me and let me know that. You know, like I said, you know, I know there were weeks that I was working 60, 70 hours a week, you know, just trying to keep up, and particularly when I was teaching English, Stacy, I can certainly understand. You know, I had 150 students, and, you know, trying to grade 150 essays some nights was just almost impossible. So, like I said, a deadline is there for a reason, mostly to keep you on track. But if you need to miss it, just let me know. I'm not going to penalize you. You know, like I said, I'm pretty understanding. Also, I know, too, some students have had some problems with getting their textbooks, particularly if you ordered them from Amazon because of the weather. So, you know, they're not delivering quite as much. If for some reason you need to get an extension on an assignment, particularly these first couple weeks, just let me know. It's not a big deal. Because like I said, I know some people have not gotten their textbooks yet. Also, too, like I said, I'm very transparent. I think I'm pretty easygoing. You know, I'm not going to be one who's going to just be awful to you or whatever. And since I am, for many of you, your advisor as well, just call me. If you've got some issues going on or whatever, just call me, talk to me. We'll figure it out. We'll work through it together. You know, I want you to be successful in this course. I'm not looking to have the bell curve. For me, a bell curve should be very skewed with all A's. You know, and I'll try to make the course like that. If you've never taken an online course before, some people think online means self-paced. That is not necessarily true. You know, we do have things that come every week, and, you know, try to keep up with that. This may be good news for some of you it may not, I don't know, but I do not give a traditional exam either at midterm or final. What I will do at the midterm is going to be a case study. You know, we're all about the application level. This is a practical kind of course. And then for the final exam, I'm not really sure what I'm going to do yet, but I definitely will give you plenty of time to get ready for it. What I've done in the past have included things like you can do a comprehensive PowerPoint where you know, tell me everything you've learned. I've done a case study before. I've done an action plan. It just kind of depends, but it's not going to be a test that you need to cram and study for. You know, use all your notes, use every resource you have available to you. There are no other tests throughout the course, because this is one of the things that I know Dr. Perry and I try really hard to do is to make our courses useful and practical. So while we will talk about research and theory, more than anything, I want you to walk away with tools that you can actually use in your jobs now and certainly on into the future. And that was one of the things I liked about the Learning by Doing book, is there's all kinds of tools in there. So it's not, like I said, just a bunch of dry reading. It's something hopefully you can put into practice. Some of the students, too, I've noticed in the past, wait until like Saturday to even look at the week's assignments, and they're due on Sunday. If that's your learning style, fine. You know, I can respect that, but I just will warn you, you might want to look ahead a little bit, just so you can kind of plot and plan your time accordingly. I don't think there's anything you couldn't accomplish just on a Saturday, you know, if you put your mind to it, but sometimes I've seen students get in a bind because of that. Okay, so what else do y'all want to know about me? And then I can tell you if you want to know the real truth. Gosh, I've had practically all of you. I think I've had all of you at some point. Close to it. Oh, y'all let me off easy tonight. It's just because I'm sniffling all the time. No questions? All right. So the last thing that I want to do is we're going to start talking about a data analysis model as well as a process. So what I decided to do, I was going to talk really about research and theory tonight, but instead of that, I thought, let's take that research and theory and give you an application level example. So I did send you the PowerPoint presentation, so if you've got it, you're welcome to follow along. If you don't, I posted it. You should have an email with it as an attachment, but I also posted it in that important documents and resources folder in the first week's module for you. So what I did was I pulled a resource that we put together as area superintendents when I was in Dallas. So this was pretty new. I left Dallas officially in 2016, and we did this probably 6 months before I left. So like I said, this is fairly new. But one of the things that Dallas did that I thought was pretty successful and certainly helped us to move our schools and to improve our student outcomes was we had data meetings on a pretty regular basis. So we had a cycle where they had a data meeting once a month at the campus level. And once a month, the principals of like schools came together. So it might be our elementary principals or our middle school principals or high school principals, whatever, in small groups and had a data meeting together and collaboratively. But one of the things we realized was that while this process was working pretty well, we had a lot of teachers as well as campus leadership and even central office leadership people who didn't know how to really go about analyzing data. So what we did is several of us had actually gone to Harvard and studied with the authors of DataWise, because both the authors are professors at Harvard's Graduate School of Education. And we took what they had shown us and taught us, as well as from the book, and put it into a system. And by doing so, we found that it was really much more successful. So I'm just going to walk you through that. So this is from Dallas. You can actually find it on their website, but I'll give you all the copies. You don't have to go looking for it unless you want to. But the idea was to develop a systemic model that allowed us to analyze data focused on student achievement. You know, one of the things that I saw frequently over my career was we would give teachers so much data, but we never did anything with it. We might even go through and analyze it and disaggregate it, and we could tell you, all the, purple children, how they did, and how all the green children did, and we could predict how they might do in the future. That's not really helpful. True data analysis is breaking down the data into sizable pieces so that you can then apply what you know and learn either on a group of students, a cohort of students, or an individual student. That's where data has impact. So that's what we were trying to do, was help teachers in particular be able to do this in a systemic way. We also were trying to make sure that our teachers didn't spend their lives doing data. I'll never forget, I had a principal who, good intentions, but had given the teachers all of this data from one of their formative assessments, and they were having to go through and analyze that data and tie it back to every single question on the formative assessment, then break it down by student group, which included male, female, race, socioeconomic status, ESL, gifted and talented, special education. It was like ridiculous. The teachers were spending hours upon hours upon hours doing this. That is not helpful, guys. There are plenty of other ways to do it in a much easier way. So we don't want to overburden teachers with data, but at the same time, we want to give them real tools that they can actually use. You also want to make sure that the data that you're looking at, gathering, and using is aligned to your instructional priorities. So I've been asked to send in data when I was a principal on some of the most ridiculous things ever, and I'm thinking, what does that have to do with improving student achievement? So when you're in those leadership roles, make sure that the data work that's being done meets or aligns with your instructional plan. Otherwise, you're wasting everybody's time. So, when we did this, we looked at DataWise. That was our primary resource, but some other really good resources as well, if you just happen to want to buy these at some point, is Driven by Data by Paul Bambrick Santoyo. He has a really good CD that goes with his book, and again, it's very practical. Literally gives you templates and all that kind of stuff. The other one is the Data Coaches Guide, and my personal favorite is Instructional Rounds in Education. I love that book mostly because I got to study with Elmore at Harvard regarding this book. But what he does in there is he takes the idea of the medical round and applies it to education. So, not that I'm a doctor, but I've seen residents. So you know how they go in and they observe a patient and they review all the data, the test results, the chart, you know, all of those kind of things. Then they meet in a group collaboratively and they try to find a diagnosis. Then from that diagnosis, they work together to create a treatment plan. That's how we should be handling our data as well in schools. You have to first observe and figure out what are the useful pieces of information. Then you have to diagnose the problem, and then you have to create a treatment plan. And Elmore lays that out perfectly in his book, Instructional Rounds. So what did we do in Dallas? What was our data analysis model and process? And again, I'm not going to read this to you. It's in the PowerPoint, but we created a circle and showed how everything flows together. But at the center of that circle is student achievement. Because much like I've talked about before, when you're in a professional learning community or whatever, if we're spending time focused on other things, we are not helping kids. So for example, I've had to gather data before on how many years of experience the teachers had in my building and how many of them, you know, were at tier 1 in this particular assessment and all of that kind of stuff. It did nothing to change my student achievement. So at the heart of this is student achievement. Then around that is not only data-driven dialogue and feedback, but you also have to make sure that you're asking instructionally relevant questions and that you're giving feedback to your teachers. So if I go in a classroom and I'm going to do an observation, one of the questions I would often ask my teachers are, tell me who your highest readers are and who your lowest readers are. That way I can watch the kind of instruction they were receiving and how they were interacting with each other as well as the teacher, and look specifically at their work samples to better diagnose what was going on in that classroom. Then on the outer bands, you have, you know, interpreting the data, analyzing it, collecting it, all of those kind of pieces. It's pretty self-explanatory, but it is a cycle. And you have to do each one of those pieces to be effective. So in terms of the layers of this, and I'm not going to again read this all to you, but if you talk about the layers, you have the process steps, the embedded data practices, and then the student achievement. So process steps, pretty simple. You just follow the steps, okay? The second piece of it is those data practices. So what kinds of things are you doing once you have the data? And then finally, what does it look like in terms of student achievement, okay? So when we talk about student achievement in particular, it's really about analyzing data to develop action plans as well as feeding into the classroom to make a difference. So for example, one of the things that drives me crazy is, you know how we all give the end of the year assessments? And then we get all those data results back. I don't know when they come back in Louisiana, but in Texas, you gave the test like in May, and we didn't get the results back till maybe July or August. So then you spend at your opening school, professional development, you go through all those results, and you disaggregate them, and you color code them, and you look at them, and you review them, and you talk to them about them ad nauseum. That is a complete and total waste of time. Why? It's historical data. You don't have those kids sitting in front of you anymore. They've moved on to the next grade level. They're going to be taking a completely different assessment, and they're going to be taught a completely different curriculum. Now, instead of doing that, take those wonderful data pieces and do some celebrations. Look at maybe where you fell short. Look for some big trends, like for example, and this is probably true in every school in America, All of the students in the elementary school are struggling with inferences and drawing conclusions. Well, we already know that. So let's now start planning to make sure that we're mediating that appropriately. What's much more helpful is to use formative assessment along the way to ensure that you're gathering data that's really going to help you. I think one of the worst examples I ever saw is when I was in Dallas, we had this great big convocation right before all the teachers came back with all the principals and all of the instructional leadership from central office. And they were up there touting how great we'd done and all that, except in algebra. Algebra 1 was sort of the bane of our existence. And I'll never forget a highly articulate, very well-respected principal. She happened to be sitting a couple rows over from me. And keep in mind, we were a large school district, so there was 225 principals and probably another 100 central office people. And I could see her frustration growing. And finally, we got to the Q&A part, and she stood up and she said, I did everything you guys told me to do from the math department. I followed your curriculum plan. I gave your assessments. I analyzed your data. I went through and did all of that, but my students are still failing. And what she brought out that I think was really telling was the data the district had gathered and what we told her, not me, I wasn't in math, I was not in that role, but what they had told her was, look, based on our formative assessments and the data, your kids are going to do fine. But when it came to the real state assessment, they bombed miserably and failed. The problem was, not only was the assessment not aligned to the actual test, they gave her false data and a false sense of security. So that's why it's absolutely critical that we have those embedded data practices that are aligned. So while this course is about data in particular, we can never forget that there has to be that alignment between assessment, curriculum, and instruction. Otherwise, you're going to get false data. It's kind of like getting a false positive. If you remember back to your chemistry days or whatever, and you get an incorrect result, it's the same kind of idea. So it's really, really important that we follow these practices. The process steps are really how you do it. So when we're trying to teach new teachers or new administrators or whatever, it's nice to have sort of a step-by-step process that's going to help you to go through this. And this outlines that for you. Okay, so that was your crash course in data for at least right now. It's not too scary yet. So I'm looking to see. Oh, Jessa, thank you for finding the resources. Yeah, there's a ton of them there. Okay. All right, so to close this out for the night, what kind of questions, comments, or concerns do y'all have? What can I help you with? I'm trying to think. So we talked about textbooks not here yet. Don't worry about that. If you need extensions on deadlines, just let me know. Don't stress out.
Sorry, is there a certain style the papers are supposed to be in, APA, MLA, or does it matter, or none?
APA, please.
APA, okay.
Yeah, that is the standard for education courses, is APA.
Okay, thanks.
And yes, you only have one textbook. And hopefully you got it off Amazon, and I don't even want to know what it cost if you bought it through the bookstore.
I have a couple of questions regarding class requirements.
Yeah.
In terms of, are there any task stream components or clinical experience hours we need to be thinking about now?
Clinical experience hours, no, there are none required. As far as task stream, what I try to do for students is, instead of having you load certain things into task stream, I just do a data dump when it's all done. We use task stream because we have to gather data for our accreditation. And so there are certain assignments that are aligned to certain standards. And so instead of having you do that, once the course is over and everything's been graded, I just upload all those for you to task stream, so you don't have to worry about it. So if you don't have a task stream account and I'm the only course you're taking, you wouldn't need to pay for one right now.
Thank you.
Dr. Johnson, I have a question.
Yes.
As far as our project, whether it be individual or group, when will those kind of items be published before we can start looking at that?
Yeah, the group project comes in the third week. So you'll see it probably sometime middle of next week, if not a little bit sooner. And then the case study, which is the midterm, is like the 4th week, but they overlap in the sense of I give you the group project the 3rd week, but you have 2 weeks to complete it. Then the midterm case study, I'll give you the 4th week, but you have 2 weeks to complete it. And then the final exam, comes the very last week, but I'm going to try to give you guys at least 2 weeks or not make it quite so difficult. The edition of the book, data-wise, is 2013, I believe. Yeah, Joseph gave you the ISBN. Thanks, Joseph. School improvement plan, no, you will not need that. You will need, if you have them, probably some data from like your state assessment or something like that. But if you don't have it, it's no big deal. I have plenty of data sets I can send you. You can either use your own, so you're doing something that is helpful to you, or like I said, I can send you all kinds of data. I have it at my fingertips for about 500 schools. So that's it.
I was also going to ask, sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
For those of us who aren't currently in a classroom or in school, are there any challenges I should be looking toward in terms of getting access to anything like that? Or
no, because
a lot of the state data is obviously online, and I have access to that. But
no, because you're not going to be doing anything where you've got to do an observation and write about it, or anything like that. I try to encourage people, if they're in a school, to use data from their school, simply because, again, that's more helpful to you than just something out there. But if you don't have access to a resource through your school or whatever, I will always provide things that you can use.
Thank you.
Oh, and I did not know. Thank you. Who was that? Midi? Am I saying your name right, Midi? How do you say it? Midi? Midi? Correct me. I'm wrong.
That's correct, Midi.
Midi. That's such a cool name. I love it. I didn't know you could rent it. Wow.
Yes.
That's smart.
Yes, and I think it's about $3 or $4 for shipping, but it fits these 7-week courses perfectly.
Yeah, that's perfect. Perfect. Okay. Any other questions, guys, or concerns, or anything you want to know?
Last one, I promise. I welcome my classmates' perspective on this. I know the discussion forums are forced subscription currently, so I'm getting around 100 emails in the inbox on a regular basis. Is there a way to opt out of that, or is that something you'd rather keep for us?
Some of you know, I don't, because my screens are different than y'all's. So there is a way to turn off the subscription at the individual student level. I just can't do that, because if I do that, then I don't see the responses.
Got it.
So I know somebody last time put something out about how to do that. Do any of y'all know how to turn it off so you're not getting your inbox filled up with? Yeah, I had 350 emails today just from the discussion forum. So I feel your pain. I absolutely feel your pain, Patrick. But yeah, I think what you can do in Moodle is there's a way to go in with your settings on the forums and change it to optional. But like I said, I don't see the same screen as you guys, so I'm not sure how to do it. But Patrick, email me and I'll send you to the Moodle guru for the campus, and he can tell you, Micah can tell you how to do that.
If you go in and you click on your little picture on Moodle and click preferences, there's a spot to click notification preferences. You can change it there, and where you just get a digest. The first class I took with Tracy, I was getting like 400 emails a day. Well, there goes having any kind of tidiness in my email box. There's a godsend when someone shows me that.
Okay, so Patrick, Joseph can hook you up if you didn't get all that.
Great, thanks so much.
Yeah, and for the reflections, it is a 1 to 3 maximum paragraph total. So I'm not looking for the introductory paragraph and all that kind of stuff. I want you to be succinct, because if you go for the doctorate and you start really doing a ton of research and all that, you got to learn how to be pretty succinct. So I'm pushing you here. Okay. I know y'all are heartbroken. I'm not asking you to write a 5-page or 10-page paper every week. Okay. Any other questions, guys? Comments? I promise next time I'm going to take like triple allergy medicine or something before classes. Good grief. Well, thank y'all. We're gonna one last thing. I always do make sure we end our Zoom meetings on time. We do not go over unless you guys request it, because I want to be mindful of your time as well. So thank you, everybody, and I'm going to go ahead and end the recording and the meeting.
Thank you, Dr. Tracy.
Thanks. Y'all have a great night. All right. Enjoy the weekend.
Thank you very much.
Talk to you soon. Bye.
Okay. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.
Good night.